Hi everybody, Josh Knight the First here again with another Exade replay, this time here to talk to you about episode 8 of Kamen Rider Exade. Let's get right into it. So this episode we see some carryover from last episode. A lot of things we thought we were going to see have come to pass and have left a lot of things open to questioning. Now we have a lot of new information, but let's go ahead and focus on the patient first. So our patient, of course, is the old man from the last episode who had both the Giri Giri Chanbara and Jet Combat bugsters inside of him. Now we've already dealt with Giri Giri Chanbara, now we have to deal with Jet Combat. So it seems that he had two sources of stress before. The one he was already dealing with, that was dealt with last episode. This episode, it seems to focus on his love for his job, namely at a factory. His daughter seems to have been helping him out there, and it seems that the workers there at the factory have also been wanting to pull for him and hope he gets better and hope that the factory does well, too. Now the thing about this that I really appreciate, as opposed to maybe the last episode or two, as far as a moral is concerned for the episode, is that what they really try to push here is that you don't have to do everything on your own. As for the old man, he tried to hold on to all the stress of worrying about the factory and its workers all on his own. He didn't want to involve the workers themselves, he didn't want to involve his daughter, but at the end of the episode, Emu has to point out to him, you know what, dude, you don't have to do this on your own. There's other people there, there's friends, there's family who are willing to pull for you and share that burden. That's a really important thing that I'm glad they got across in this episode, and they got it across very succinctly too, and I'm proud of that. Now dealing with his stress, that was one thing. The other half is dealing with the bugster. So, as per last episode, Snipe is still trying to get a hold of that Jet Combat Gashat, and he manages to do so, but in an interesting way. Using his actual sniping skills, he's able to actually separate the Gashat from the bugster without killing it, which is interesting. Now, as much as you'd like to dwell on, wow, there's so much implication here, it seems it's for the selfish reasons he's been doing everything else for. So it seems the real reason he wanted to separate the Gashat from the bugster was to hold the bugster hostage. The reason being, he still wants those other level 3 Gashats from Brave and Exade respectively. So once he has the bugster held hostage, he issues a challenge out to Emu and Hiro respectively. Come meet me next day at noon, I'm gonna take both your Gashats. If you can defeat me, or if I defeat you, you get the idea. He's just trying to get them for himself. Really, it's interesting, for as much as he likes shooting games, he's playing this as a gotta catch 'em all sort of game. I'm just saying. Now, an interesting thing to consider as far as Taiga's motivation is concerned is that he seems to be wanting to do this for power. That seems to be the base level thing that everybody seems to be getting from him, but he seems to be holding on to some deeper motive having to do with Zero Day all those years ago, where he believes he's the only person who should be Kamen Rider. Now again, this is left up to interpretation, or until the story tells us. Is he doing this just for his own selfish motives, or does he have something to prove to himself and to the CR? So this does come down to a showdown between Exade, Brave, and Snipe in a rocky area that was not reached by the Scene Select, and of course it's here that we see the debut of the Jet Combat Level 3 form for Snipe. Now here, he's given the ability of flight and 2 Gatling guns on either side of him, which proved to be very powerful. It's interesting here to see that in terms of attack, Do Re Mi Fa Beat, the level 3 form for Brave, seems to be using some sort of musical note wave to try and attack, but it's still not rhythm based. I don't know if that really blends well with what they said the motif of the game was. As for Snipe, it makes perfect sense. He's a shooter, he's using Gatling guns, and his finisher seems to be like a War Machine, heavy arms, free-for-all of missiles and bullets. That makes perfect sense. And as a result of this fight, both Brave and Exade lose their level 3 Gashats to Snipe. Now if this wasn't bad enough, over on the other side of town, we see a little bit more play between Laser and Genmu. So earlier in the episode, Kujo called out the president of the Genmu Corporation, Kuroto Dan, telling him, hey, we should talk. Really, it means let's fight. And later on, they do meet up under a bridge somewhere there in Tokyo, I assume, in both of their level 3 respective forms, to try and see if they can get information out of one another. The very interesting thing that comes up here is something that's very important to the soul, I believe, of what Kamen Rider is, and I'll go ahead and explain that here. What Kuroto Dan ends up revealing to the audience is that every other Kamen Rider except Emu had to undergo surgery to become a Kamen Rider, to become compatible with the gamer driver. That is huge, and I'll explain why. If you go all the way back to the 70s, to the origins of Kamen Rider, every Kamen Rider there in the past had been operated on, from Ichigo all the way up to J. They all had some form of a surgical operation to become a Kamen Rider. There was a term that went along with that, Kaizo Ningen, modified, reconstructed human, kind of a layman's way of putting that. The point being is that was a trope for many, many years, at least through the Showa era. Here in the Heisei era, it's more a matter of the power was bestowed upon you or you're special in some way or form. Now that does seem to apply to Emu, seeing as he's apparently the special one that didn't need the operation, but for everybody else they had to be operated on. That is a huge throwback, and I couldn't be more happy to see that they've actually done that. really this opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for the show, where they're going to go with that. How far did they operate on them? Could they be operated on further? Is that how they get power-ups beyond what we've seen already with the Gashats that are available? Maybe we'll find out some of these answers next episode, as we see the lead-in at the end of the episode, and then with the preview, we see that Graphite has gotten a hold of the Drago Knight Hunter Proto-Gashat, which is the prototype version of that particular Gashat, and he'll use that to achieve a darker color palette version of his form. Palette Palato, that's kind of funny. Forget I said that pun. Point being, this will lead into next week's episode, where we will see the debut of the level 5 form for the Drago Knight Hunter Gashat with Exade. So again, this is a lot of ground to cover. I can't believe we're getting this much story pushed this hard, this fast, and we're only on the 8th episode. We haven't even gotten into double digits yet, and I gotta say I'm very proud of the series for doing this well, this far on. Please, guys over there at Toei, keep it up. I'm really appreciating what you're doing here. Great work. And as for you guys at home, what do you think of all these revelations? Do you think Snipe's playing the wrong games? Do you think it's important that they brought surgery back into the mix? Do you think it was good that we had less Popey Peepo Popo this episode? You guys tell me in the comments below. And of course, you can always talk to me over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st. This has been another Exade replay for episode 8, Men Fly High. I'm Josh Knight the First. I'll see you guys again next week.